host, Josh Farley. Hello, how's everybody doing tonight? Yes, nice to see you here. As I always say, we have another local legend right here in our midst, the founder of Wayzgoose, as well as someone who is contributing today. We have Manette Saloon to my left, right over here. Round of applause for Manette. And Janelle Kubien. Welcome, Janelle. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. I'm really excited because Wayzgoose started in 2018. Yes, and it's such a cool festival. It's such a unique festival here in Bremerton. We're so lucky to have it. And I think that one thing that I know that I get asked a lot is, how did this festival all start? What does it mean? And then, of course, we have on June the 1st, if I'm not mistaken,
yes,
we have another edition of Wayzgoose coming up that you can attend, and I hope that you do, because I've attended several of these and they are great. So the first thing I want to do to start with, if it's okay with you, Manette, is we did not have a Wayzgoose festival in Bremerton, period, and now we do. And I'm sorry, I know that I don't want to put too much attention on this, but you are responsible for that. Why do we have a Wayzgoose festival in Kitsap County?
Okay, good question. Thank you, Josh. Well, I was living in Seattle. I grew up here, but I haven't always lived here. And I was volunteering and getting involved in the arts community, became a letterpress printer, and was at the South Lake Union Wayzgoose, which used to be I can't remember what the festival was called before I moved there, and the Tacoma Wayzgoose. And I loved it. It was so collaborative. It brought in so many different ages, and it was a spectacle because the centerpiece is making art with a giant piece of construction machinery. and it was an all day long thing, and things got made, and people got to exchange equipment, and it was just a very cool event. And I wanted to bring that to Bremerton, to Kitsap, and it's not like we can't travel to Tacoma or Seattle, but having it here makes it so much more accessible to so many more people.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true.
That was a big piece of it.
Yeah, and you are downplaying. You founded the Bremerton Letterpress Company. You are a longtime artist in our community. You've done amazing things, and I want to acknowledge that first of all. But going from there, so Wayzgoose, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was really an idea to bring art more so, not just the artist, but to the masses a little bit. Yes?
Yes. Yeah. So the way we interpreted the festival is we provide art material and this platform to artists months in advance, and they work on creating the pieces that will be printed at the festival. So there's the collaboration that goes into making the pieces ahead of time, and then the people who come and get to see it come to life, but it also takes a team of volunteers to make the prints at the festival. So there's a lot of layers to get involved, a lot of ways people can participate and just be part of making giant art in a weird way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Janelle, you have sort of taken the baton and are very much a part of Wayzgoose. Tell me about your introduction. How did you find out about Manette? How did you find out about Wayzgoose in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I moved here with my family to Bremerton when I was 2, lived here, and then also moved to Seattle for school. And it was there that I started developing relationships with people in my community in Seattle as an artist. And I moved back here to Bremerton in 2017, and I was looking for that sort of same arts community to be a part of, and to meet other fellow artists. So when I had been to Wayzgoose events in Seattle and also in Tacoma, and so when I saw that Manette had brought it over here to Bremerton, I was just really excited to also see it, something like that here in Kitsap. And that's when I reached out to her and became involved as well.
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's strip it down for people who maybe are unfamiliar. There's linoleum involved.
Lots of linoleum.
Lots of linoleum. So tell me about that. What is the actual product that will be made that people would be able to see on June the 1st if they go to the Marvin Williams Center? Take us back to what this art looks like and what's the process to create it. Either one of you can jump in on this.
Okay. Well, if we start at the beginning, it's the people who have an idea and a theme that we provide every year. I think the first year it was home, and it's evolved. This year it's breathe.
Breath. I looked on there.
I keep
it's breath.
doing that. And then we have 3 foot by 3 foot squares of linoleum that we give all the artists, and a set of speedball carving tools, and lots of instruction and mentorship and support. But basically, we just hand it over and let you get to work.
Yeah, I think that the artists get to interpret that theme and, make a design on that linoleum. And it takes a lot of physical labor to carve it all out. So it's a really cool process. It's a long process, but it also really pays off once you see that steamroller go over that piece of print, and then have folks pull up and see that piece of art that you just made. That takes months to create.
Yeah, I mean, there's a team. This is team sport too.
So at the festival,
the
artists bring this giant piece of linoleum that's carved, and we have a whole slew of people. Some are like the inky hands people, and some are the clean hands people, and they deal with just the paper. So the plate is the linoleum. Gets inked up. We lay it on the ground, put a piece of paper over it, put a blanket over it, and then the steamroller drives over it. And it prints it on paper, and they're like 4 foot by 4 foot when they're done prints.
Well, and they're gorgeous. I love the fact that like art of any kind, whether it's written, whether it's drawn, whatever the medium is, it starts from an idea from somebody's head. And the beautiful thing about Wayzgoose is then you take a team of artists that put this together. They carve it into linoleum. There is an engineering that goes into creating it, and then the community gets to enjoy it. And, of course, we talked about this art. It's in the wild now, right? There are lots of Wayzgoose pieces. How do we know? I mean, have you ever counted up all of the pieces that have been created in Wayzgoose Kitsap?
We haven't, but every year, every artist or artist team prints 12.
12, okay.
And they get distributed different ways. And the first year we had 32 prints. The next year I think we had 28. During COVID it went down to 12-ish, maybe, Aaron?
Okay.
I don't know, so you can do the math.
Well, there you go.
This year we're doing 12.
Awesome. So, obviously, the momentum builds from the year that it started, and then we hit a pandemic. How did you guys weather the pandemic? How did you survive this? How did you get through it?
We had awesome people.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so we just had to brainstorm what to do. We masked up, we did social distancing, and we printed in my parents' driveway.
Oh, very nice.
I think 3 years they hosted, and we dealt with smoke and late nights and I think rain some of the years, and that's how we weathered the storm. Everyone was willing to take risks with us and have fun.
That's great. Well, tell me about June 1st coming up. Breathe is the theme this year. This is, so if we started in 18, we're talking about seventh year. Pandemic makes things a little tricky on that front. But describe for me what you're looking forward to and what people can expect to see if they go out to the Marvin Williams Center on June 1st.
Well, we have 6 returning artists mentoring 6 teams. So we'll have 12 total prints, 12 of each, and 2 steamrollers this year going. We'll be at the Marvin Williams Center. We'll have music, we'll have food vendors, and we'll have our art market. Last year we had massages and flowers and a whole festival feel, but the highlight is the steamroller printing, and then every booth will have hands-on activities. The Kitsap Regional Library is hosting our kids booth, so we'll have lots of printing available to everybody.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
I
you
love
get
it.
your hands inky.
That's so cool. That's so cool. But I want to make sure that we talk about the evolution of Wayzgoose. There are other Wayzgoose festivals, and in case you're curious, of course, Smokestack, Bill Mickelson, bless his heart, has actually covered this. But in your own words, Marit, can you describe I know that it has something to do with Gutenberg and the printing of the Bible as far as like the birth of this, but it has obviously taken on a much wider meaning and connotation and where you have taken it. Tell me about where did it start and what does Wayzgoose mean and how have we sort of transformed it into something that is accessible and inclusive in our community?
Well, we named it Wayzgoose Kitsap because we wanted to collaborate with our sister festivals in the area, Tacoma Wayzgoose and the other Wayzgoose in Seattle. The word is an old German word, and you can read Bill's article about that. But a lot of I would probably change the name if I could today because that's so historic and very Eurocentric, and the way our festival and organizing committee is headed is to make art accessible to as many people as possible. Yes. And so we don't want to be stuck in that history. We want to be a platform to amplify creative voices here in Kitsap and to bring in inspiration from outside. So we're really trying to push things forward as much as we can.
Awesome. Well, go beyond. Tell me about how you're pushing that envelope and with a specific eye on one of the things that I think is really incredible, again, about your organization is without you and without Wayzgoose, the exposure in the Kitsap community would not exist. That's a beautiful thing about people doing stuff, which is what Bill Mickelson and what Smokestack is all about. Is people doing stuff is why we have so many things to look forward to. You've talked about going into the schools. You talked about connecting with people that might not have access to this and seeing this. Again, I always go back to our most famous example in Bremerton of Quincy Jones finding a piano one night and going, oh my gosh, this could be my future. And of course, the rest is history. We're connecting art for youngsters. I want to know about kind of education and how you guys are sort of strategizing to bring this into schools and to make it accessible for everybody in Kitsap to experience.
Right. Well, it started off with let's throw a party and close down the streets during Blackberry Festival and
heck yeah, and that
print
worked
with steamrollers. But now we have a focus on getting this platform and the tools, of all sense of the word, to as many people as possible. And since we started, it was individual artists working on their prints, and we realized this is a really great collaborative project. It could be. We've offered the slots to different corporate teams and schools and whatnot, and we've seen what that experience can do for people. And so we want to lean into that aspect as much as possible. So we're working on curriculum development so we can take this project idea into classrooms around Kitsap and let students kind of go through this whole process that Janelle's gone through and then have this experience and the final pieces to show for it and to share with the community.
Cool. Are either one of you involved in one of the prints this year? And can you give us a sneak peek at all of what one would look like?
I am not part of printing this year.
Okay. How many years were you involved, Janelle?
I was involved before I was a participant as a printing artist. I had worked with Wayzgoose developing some posters to promote the actual event. I did that for, I think, 2018, 2019.
Awesome.
And then in 2021, I wanted to take on the challenge of actually cutting a lino block print myself. And it was a really great experience. I had never done a lino block that large. And I partnered with my sister on the design. I thought maybe that would help alleviate some of the the challenge for myself. So it was really fun to collaborate with her, who is also she's also an artist, and we worked on a design together and worked on carving it together.
That's awesome. Well, tell me more about that. What was the design, and where is it now? I mean, that's the other great thing about Wayzgoose is they exist out in the wild, as we say.
Yes, it is out in the wild. I, of course, kept one for myself in my home.
Yeah.
I see it every day, and I believe that there is one in Sapling Gelato,
Awesome.
connected
Okay.
to Evergreen Pizza.
Heck yeah.
At the park.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Will you talk about your design a
Yeah,
little bit?
tell me
It's
about it. I wanna know about
sorry, I
design.
totally forgot to mention.
What'd you do?
the
What'd you do?
design. So it was between me and my sister, we had come up with a design. I designed a moth. It is based off of an atlas moth, and she designed some flowers and some water around it, and it was representative of us as Filipino immigrants. Coming from the Philippines and then moving here to Bremerton, of all places. And so we just wanted to, I don't even remember what the theme was for that year.
I think it was
Was it connection?
I don't remember. We've done gather, home,
Yeah.
water.
Okay. Yeah. But it was also during the pandemic, so
Yeah.
we had a lot of social distancing to do, and we wanted to like be able to bring our identity to the community, even if it was at a distance. So that was the design that that you'll be able to see at Sapling.
Oh my God, I love that. So essentially the journey of getting here and representative of the moth at Sapling. I will never go into Sapling Gelato underneath Evergreen Pizza without looking at that and thinking about that. Bremerton, I have found, and I know you are from here, and I'm not as well, but we have such a kind of transient community. The Navy kind of stirs the pot a little bit in Bremerton. It always has. And one of the things that I love about it is that we get like this sort of like, not clash, but you know what I'm saying, like a mixture, a melting pot in some ways that other communities might not experience. And so that's very cool. I'm really glad that you shared that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and anything else you guys want to share that we didn't touch on about Wayzgoose, what people can expect to find out on June the 1st or in subsequent? That's the beautiful thing about what you've created is we have momentum for June 1st, but we have momentum for years beyond that, and we need to keep it going. So tell me, what else do we need to know about this?
Yeah, I think just as a participating artist myself, it's a really great experience to be able to do something like this. And even if you're not an artist, there's still so much like space for you at this community event. Like Margaret said, like having a little festival out there for family and kids, and even if you're not an artist, taking part in like volunteering to, like she said, there's parts where you are just inking the lino block. There's parts where you're pulling it up and putting it on the ground. There's parts taking it up and hanging it. So like there's a place for everybody in this kind of community event.
I love that.
We believe that everybody's an artist, so we say that as much as we can.
Everybody is an
Yeah.
artist. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I will say there are lots of ways to get involved with Wayzgoose, from like everywhere from the board of directors, which is now a fundraising body. We've evolved. We're a 501c3 now, to like helping us put out posters, and to volunteering at the festival. There's a lot of different kinds of roles, whether you like to be on your feet or you want to like help us sell t-shirts. Like we are trying to include as many people as possible, or just come by and watch the fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know I'll be there with my family. I'm so grateful. Can we get a round of applause for Janelle and Marit, please? You guys are awesome. 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on June the 1st at the Marvin Williams Center if you want to go check it out. And all of our previous podcasts of Local Legends are available at KitsapSmokestack.org. I hope you will check those out. We will be back for those in the audience, the live audience tonight, for Kitsap Quiz Night. We'll start at 7 o'clock, and we encourage you to come down every third Thursday of the month. Thanks so much for watching, everybody,
Josh.
and we'll see you soon.